Hey guys, this is Mike with the Janus Project. Uh, it's been a long time since I've made a video, and partly I wanted to explain why. We're not going to get into all the details, but I also want to kind of show you something new that I'm going to start doing on this channel. Uh, I have, since the last video I put out on this channel, I have swapped jobs, I have swapped locations, I haven't swapped churches, but I have made tons and tons of changes in my life, so it's a very, very different situation that I'm in. Those of you who know me, you know that I was involved in camp ministry. As part of that ministry, what I would do is I would come up with themes, I would come up with storylines, I would tie them in the spiritual and the physical and all these things. Really, really fun job. And so I moved on from that ministry, and now I am working full-time at an escape room. I'm the manager of a few of them. And so I wanted to use some of that aspect, and I want to explain kind of what I do as a career, but I also wanted to explain some of the behind the scenes of some of these things that I have built. Now, what does this have to do with the Janus Project? Well, I believe that we need to have a cultural impact on the world around us. Part of that comes through just living as good Christians. Part of that comes through teaching others. But in my life, I have found that one really good way I can do that is by creating worlds that people appreciate, and then from there they can learn lessons. It's the closest I can compare it to is it's a parable. It's something that you don't quite pick up on all the details until it's explained. There's depths and layers all buried there, and you can start getting some really, really neat stories out of it. Now, in order to do this properly, I gotta kind of introduce you to some of the stuff in my office. Now, in my office, I have this thing up here. Now, this thing up behind me, you could call it a shrine to death, if you will, but it's not what it sounds like. If you take a look, and I'll turn my camera around. If you take a look, this is a verse out of Ecclesiastes. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I am almost contractually obligated to reference Ecclesiastes at least once in every sermon that I preach. These are some of the notes of various classes that I've taught or worked on. But you see this thing, it talks about Ecclesiastes, and it says this: I returned and I saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor yet bread to the... nor yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to a man of skill, but time and chance happeneth to them all. And so what I've done is I have reminded myself of the theme of Ecclesiastes, which is the idea that death is coming for all of us. So we need to live in light of that. And so I have my death dice, I have my death's head dice, and I have a skull that I've had for a long, long time. Now, what this is this is actually a game of chance. You can see right there. What it is you start with 2 stacks of coins. And as you start with these 2 stacks of coins, you roll the dice and you put a coin on whatever slot the dice rolls. So if you roll a 1 through a 5, you put a little coin in the slot and you're done. If your opponent rolls a number that is already occupied, they have to take all the coins. Now, one slot, the number 6 slot, is actually a groove, so like you can drop it into the box. So that means that coin is out of play for good. And so you've got 1 through 5, and you are basically playing to see if you can get rid of all your tokens first. And so what I've done is I've set up this little, again, shrine. I don't like using the word, but I've set up this little shrine. And what it is it's a reminder that life is time and chance. You can have the most skilled, the most talented, the wisest, the best person, and it does not necessarily mean they are going to be successful. Now, I don't have time to get into it. This is just an introduction. But biblically speaking, there's something to be said about time and chance. And I know there's a lot of people who say, no, there's no such thing as chance. There is. Biblically speaking, if you study out the topic, the idea of time and chance, to summarize, is God is working behind the scenes. His fingerprints are everywhere. You just don't necessarily see him. This is exemplified by the casting of lots. It's a complete chance, random thing, but the idea is that God is controlling the outcome, and you are basically casting it and leaving God to make up the difference. You'll see this with the idea of Purim, which is a Jewish festival around the time of Esther. And the whole idea was all of these things throughout the story are just chance happenings. And so this idea of time and chance is really, really big. And so even something as simple as this, I took an old game That was just an old carnival game, and I converted it into a spiritual lesson. These are the types of things I want to start walking through with you. And if it's helpful to you and you can incorporate it into your own youth group or your own camp or things like that, get in touch with me. I'd love to help you guys out. I'd love to be a resource for you. But this is something as simple as an old box game involving dice and a verse and some tokens. And the beauty of what we did when we made these is we actually put verses dealing with certain issues on the tokens so you could see them as you play the game. So that is just one example of something where we have gamified and made something spiritual, but also fun. So join me on the Janus Project. We're going to dig into that. I'm going to talk about escape rooms. We're going to talk about all sorts of issues. And guys, I hope you will enjoy this content coming up. And I'm back in action. Welcome to the Janus Project. Be sure to like and subscribe and all those wonderfully good things. I'll catch you on the other side, guys.